Hello and welcome to the Hole in My Heart podcast. This is episode 244, the day I knew I was burned out.
This is going to be a big confessional for you today, isn't it, Steve?
Maybe.
Hello, yes, and welcome to the Hole in My Heart podcast. Welcome back from summer break.
Yeah.
We are coming at you from the lovely WCSG radio studio, and I'm your host, Laurie Krieg, and I have alongside me on my right side, you can see him if you're watching us on YouTube, my husband and licensed therapist, Matt Krieg. Matt, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. You're doing good?
Yeah.
Not burned out?
I'm not as burned out as I could be, thanks to some recent sickness and time off.
Sickness healed your burnout. That's going to be the theme.
Maybe. I don't know.
Today.
That's what it takes.
And on my other side is the most professional radio voice among us and our friend, producer Steve. Steve, how are you?
Hi, guys. I am... when I saw that this was going to be the subject of our episode today, I thought, is she reading my mail? Or it's
Yes.
not even in my mail.
am.
You're reading my mind.
I'm sorry.
I'm doing all right, but I'm glad to be here.
I am glad you are here, and I feel you on the burnout. And those of you who are listening and you're like, oh my goodness, we're talking about burnout, and we're also starting the fall. I can't be burned out. This is like when you're supposed to have all the energy. I was
Prime
just supposed
time.
to have rested. But the theme of this fall season is how can we become healthy disciples who make healthy disciples? So sometimes we're going to be talking about the making disciples part. Sometimes we're talking about how can we become healthy. And so that's why we're talking about burnout in the day I knew I was burned out. I'm going to share that story. These guys are going to share that story. But first, can we just talk about summer? Steve, I haven't seen you in 17.5 years.
That's what it feels like.
What's a highlight, lowlight from your summer?
So I think the big thing for me and my co-host Kathy is we transition to the morning show.
Okay,
So
those of
we
you who
went-
are listening,
Right.
Steve is an actual radio talent. Legendary, award-winning. Are you award-winning?
No.
Award-winning on the Hole in My Heart podcast because he's the most professional radio voice. Duh. So you're usually afternoons, and you're going to
Yes.
move to mornings.
Right.
What time are you waking up now?
4:30.
Oh, my goodness.
Which, I mean, I know you're a morning person. That's no big deal for you and for a lot of people. But I've always been a night owl. So it's just different.
You going to bed at like 9?
Yep. Yep.
Oh, Steve.
So my wife, who is now taking classes, and I have completely flip-flopped. It's crazy.
Oh, wow.
So she's up late, and I'm going to bed early. So that's been kind of the big highlight of the summer, I think, along with that because of just the nature of the turnover and how it came to be. And I didn't have any vacation time submitted beforehand.
Oh,
it was like,
no.
say goodbye to summer. So anyway, but we've got a little trip planned here for, I think, the weekend that this episode drops. So I'm probably listening to this now on vacay. So
Are you guys doing the whole, they usually rent fun Airbnbs in random cute towns. Are you doing that?
we are doing that.
I love it.
Yes, we're visiting our friends in Iowa.
Oh, yay.
And on our way there, cute B&B.
I love that. Wait, I have one more morning show question. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
What's the vibes? What's the difference between afternoon Steve and morning Steve? Do you have to have more energy, less energy, more I'm picturing evenings with, I'm picturing the easy listening voice is afternoons. Morning has to be up.
Maybe a little bit more. But I also don't want to annoy people that have to get up and they're on their way to a place where they're not excited about. So
Okay.
I don't want to be too aggressively positive.
No.
So anyway, it's a bit of a balancing act. But Kathy and I, my co-host, we kind of have our lanes, and so she covers the cute, and I cover the I don't know what, the info.
I love that. Matt, I know a little bit more about your summer, but we haven't really reflected on it. How was your summer? Any highlight, low light, boring light?
The highlight was definitely being able to head down to North Carolina and spend some time in the mountains with the family. That was a lot of fun. Swimming
Also
in very cold rivers.
Very cold rivers in a random Airbnb, but it was super fun.
Yeah, there was an arcade like with cabinet style
Yeah.
arcades. And oh man, that was a blast. I did ask Laurie how much it would take to get us one. And she said, never in a million years. You've read The Anxious Generation. Not possible.
I just have to know, though, if you could get one, what would it be?
Ooh. Probably the Loopmaster 1944.
Okay.
That one was very well played on the trip.
I was assuming like Frogger or Pac-Man or something like basic like that, but
I mean, similar style, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
scrolling, shooting, all the things.
Yeah.
Anyway, Laurie's ready to move on.
No, I like this. I'm like, did I actually say never in a million years? I thought it was like a more communal video game situation. I thought it could be fun, but
You
okay,
guys heard it.
No,
You're all my witnesses. You are my witnesses.
Whenever I say
Yes.
kind of, Matt
This is the new
immediately
highlight.
pulls out his phone and he's like, I'm already 17 layers deep in research. I already bought one. So this is not a definite kind of. We'll talk about it another time.
Yes.
My summer was, I thought it was good. I thought it was pretty peaceful. I'm back in therapy. I actually told myself, maybe don't say that in the podcast, but look, I just said it first podcast. And so it was kind of a healing summer. I feel like I'm doing more deep healing. And that is actually a good segue into the conversation about burnout. I texted a friend yesterday. I was like, why can't you just like take a pill to get sanctified and like grow? It really stinks that you have to go through it. You can't go over it. You can't go under it. You got to go through it in order to grow. And it hurts, Steve. Why does it have to hurt?
I don't know, but I feel like just like, physical health, going to the gym, the older you start, the harder it is.
Oh, yes.
It's like the more weight you've got to push up.
Yeah, something. I
More
don't
like
know.
emotional weight that you got to deal with. Yeah.
So I'm glad that you're doing this now at the young age that you're at.
Thank you. Keep telling me that. Okay. Question for you guys. I was researching burnout. I'm just curious. When do you think burnout was invented?
At the fall. When
Like last fall.
labor became toilsome
Yeah.
and the earth was cursed by sin. That's what I'm going with, theological.
All right.
good.
Fine. You win. Steve.
I was going to put it at when was Facebook invented?
Yeah, right?
But
Well,
I think Matt's probably onto something.
I resonated with what you're saying, Steve, because I was like, isn't it like when we got like email and all of that? Like that's when we got burnout. And that's maybe just when we're talking about it now. But it was actually coined by Dr. Herbert Freudenberger, who not a German psychologist, but New York psychologist, who noticed a troubling trend. This is in 1974 among his medical colleagues and himself, once passionate health workers becoming irritable, drained, and detached. He described this state as burning out, like a candle being lit too long.
Okay.
That sounds interesting. Okay, but Hippocrates, boy, I'm a communications person for my living. They talked about like melancholia back in like ancient Greece and stuff, which was a mix of sadness and fatigue. The Middle Ages, Steve, sorry, I'm gonna out you, but even like before we began this podcast recording, you're like, I guess I'll pray. Monks would get burned out from prayer.
Wow.
Even. And they called it like it was this mix of apathy, exhaustion, and meaninglessness that made even prayer feel burdensome. So Matt, you're probably actually right. Like the fall of man. But they've been talking about this sense of burnout. We've just only had language since the 70s. But here's the 3 parts of it that really help me. I love putting language to like messes. So here's the 3 parts of burnout that really helped me understand my own seasons of burnout and the day I knew I was burned out. Okay, emotional exhaustion.
Check.
Depersonalization or cynicism. That was helpful to read. I was like, oh yeah, I get so cynical when I'm burned out. I'm like, I don't even care. What does depersonalization mean? What would that look like? I was going to ask you, Matt. What do you think that sounds like?
So, I mean, that could be like kind of going on autopilot. Like you're doing stuff, but you're not really there. That's from a counseling perspective. That's how I often think of it. When it's just like you're going through the motions, but it's almost like you're watching yourself do But the things you're doing just hold no like personal meaning anymore. It's just tasks.
I think we can all think about when we feel that way. Okay, so emotional exhaustion, depersonalization or cynicism. And the third one is a reduced sense of personal accomplishment. So I'm actually going to post in the show notes. There's a test you can take to see how burned out you were. I did not take it because I did not want to know. And I'm not feeling super burnt out. But Matt, I'm actually going to start with you. You know, the title of this episode is The Day I Knew I Was Burned Out. I'm going to share about that. Matt, when have you felt those three things, emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, or cynicism, a reduced sense of personal accomplishment? When have you felt those things? When did you know this is a season you're like, I am burned out?
I mean, I think in my job, it comes very cyclically. Both working with clients and also then leading a group of therapists. Anytime that you're in a place where other people are involved, I think you can get burnt out, right? Because it can be hard. I mean, more recently, I would say this spring was really difficult for me. We went through a lot of transition at work because of some laws that were changed in Michigan. And I mean, it was just people kind of leaving and doing their own thing. And so tons of just relational change, which contributed to a lot of like extra work with hiring new people, with transitioning in, transitioning out. And it was just a lot. And a lot of the relational comfort that I had established with my team was all of a sudden no longer there. And so I felt like I got cynical, and I'm still like working on rebuilding trust with my new team. And so it's something that's exciting, but it's also like, I feel like I'm coming out of burnout right now.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. Steve, how about you? When did you know?
What day is it?
Yeah, right.
2 days ago? I
right.
mean, weirdly, like I do think, with this transition in my job, for the first several weeks, you're kind of like figuring it out and you're sort of on adrenaline and it's exciting. Like I feel like, just recently I kind of showed up and thought, okay, we're really doing this long term, this is permanent now. And I don't know, like, I think I know that it's like good, but I feel like a lot more of my life is oriented around my work now, just because I haven't gotten enough under my belt to like go on autopilot, which is like good, but also like, I don't know, I'm still figuring that out. But I think also in addition to that, like I alluded to, like going to the gym, going to counseling, I just thought stuff would be easier, building muscle would be easier, getting emotionally healthy would be easier. And I'm finding that it's daunting. So I just have a lot of daunting things going on in my life right now. And I just kind of like recently put it together just in the last couple of weeks. So that's where I'm at.
Does it help you to name it?
I think so. The naming is a little elusive. And that's kind of where I'm at with my counselor. I'm still processing, and sometimes I feel like maybe I should see him not once a week, but every day.
Oh my word! Okay, you've seen Parks and Rec, right? When Chris Traeger, he's like,
Dr. Richard Nygaard?
My therapist, Dr. Richard Nygaard. I see him 4 times a week. And he's like, I gotta go. I'm in therapy now. I keep quoting my therapist, Anne, and I'm like, I keep being like, Anne, I mean, Dr. Richard Nygaard, who I see 4 times a week. So I feel you.
Yeah. And I don't know that I'm that ambitious, but sometimes I feel like I could use it anyway.
I feel you. So I keep having conversations with people about burnout. And because I kind of took a very public step back around 22, 23, like we paused this podcast because of burnout, and I paused everything. I literally did not know if I'd ever get on stage again. But the day I knew I was burned out, we were at a marriage retreat. I was speaking.
We were leading a marriage retreat.
I was speaking. 94 times. No, probably 6 main sessions. And I would go speak, get off stage, go to this lake that was nearby, sob. I could not stop crying. Suck it back up, go back on stage, and go and lead this group. And I remember we took a break and we went to dinner, and I could not stop crying. Mm-hmm. What did you think in that moment?
This is not good. We need to change something.
Which was very kind. Because in my head, I was like, was he just thinking, wow, my wife is broken? Oh, it is true. I was. But you were so kind and compassionate, and we did make some major changes. I want to talk about some of the healthy changes we can make to heal from burnout. And newsflash, it's not just rest. Mm-hmm. But before I do that, this is the conversation I'm having with Dr. Richard Nygaard 4 times a week. That was my therapist. I seriously told myself before coming in here, I was like, I'm not going to talk about therapy. This is therapy. How did it affect your relationship with God? How did burnout affect your relationship with God? Matt, we'll start with you again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like the times when I'm in burnout, I often think of God as the person who's just telling me to get up and keep going. And so I become less likely to turn to God because I don't trust him. And I know I felt that this spring. I know I've expressed that to you at times in the past. And so, yeah, it tends to put up a strong barrier of if I go to you, what are you going to make me do next? What am I supposed to keep carrying?
Totally. How are you combating that? Because you said you're still healing from this spring round of burnout. How are you combating that? Or is it just awareness at this point? Or how are you trying to heal that?
Part of it is my own emphasis and my own focus on actually doing things that are not work related, that aren't productive. Part of it, I can remember one time this summer that I wrote a poem that I read to you that was super meaningful, and I couldn't read it without crying. That was all about all the stuff that I felt like I was carrying and kind of Jesus's response to me. So anything that allows me to actually bring my real emotion to God in a way that's okay, what are you going to do with it? And not me just chucking it at God and saying, leave me alone. Has been helpful.
Thanks for sharing that. Steve, you don't have to have it all buttoned up, but let's just start with what's it do to your relationship with God?
Yeah. Well, honestly, I'm trying to process if my relationship with God, what I'm experiencing there, is a cause or an effect of the feelings of burnout. And to clarify that, I struggle many days with experiencing his silence. And so I'm learning the importance of spiritual disciplines because sometimes you just have to show up and spend the time in solitude and choose to believe he's there. And so I've gotten some really good tools for that.
Like what?
Just a meditation app.
Yeah.
And a practice of just carving time out for that.
Like Meditations 365 or what?
No, I can't remember what it's called.
That's fine.
My counselor is developing it himself, and so he gave it to me.
Oh, okay.
I'm a beta tester, but it's been it's been good to have that to do. And I just also want to clarify, because I'm at work right now, and I'm in the room with coworkers, that I'm not equating this change in my my work role with the struggle I'm in spiritually. I've shared with you guys a little bit, just removing ourselves from an unhealthy spiritual community. And so it's been the fallout of that that was kind of that's been difficult. And so again, I'm not like even blaming what I'm describing in my relationship with God on that. I'm just experiencing it. This is where I'm at. And so anyway, so all that to say, I don't know if I'm burned out because I feel like God is silent, or if I feel like God is silent because I'm burned out. But I'm choosing to believe that he's not, and there are little grace notes that I experience unexpectedly sometimes, and I'm just noticing those.
Thank you so much for that authenticity. I know that there's people listening right now, including myself, who appreciate the this is real life, and it does affect your relationship with God, which this question I added this morning because I was thinking through how that season of burnout that started fall of 21, and it took me a couple years to get at least healed enough to be like, I know who I am in Jesus. My identity is in him. I still feel, like I described it recently in counseling, it feels like there's this scorched earth part of my heart that is the relationship between God and I, where I still love him. I know he loves me, and there's these moments of intimacy, and I believe it. I have an easier time believing in his power than in his closeness, because I feel like he failed me in that season of burnout. Like, I was trusting you. I was doing all these hard, good things for God, which I know that's not what you're supposed to do, but that's what I was doing. I didn't know it deeper in my heart. And then he let me have that experience of nonstop sobbing. And so it was just like this, where were you? I thought you were kind and gentle and intimate, and that hurt so bad. So Matt, what you were saying too, of right now, I'm trying to invite him in, but I'm realizing there's this suspicion I have. Are you going to hurt me again? Mm-hmm. If I let you close, are you going to actually not lead me to paths of righteousness and still waters and Psalm 23? But are you actually is it going to be painful? And right now, what I'm trying to meditate on as I do my own practices is God, I know that even if and when I go through the fiery furnace, you will not leave me. And you're not people who can cross their arms like you're describing, Matt, and wait for you to be done. And what have you done for me lately? He's with us. He's grieving with us. He hates the evil in this world. And so that's I have to actively meditate on that all the time in order to not do my default of I'm suspicious of you. You're going to hurt me again. Does any of that resonate with either of you?
Mm-hmm.
How so, Matt?
Well, and some of it, I feel there's a lot of expectation that I can carry about what I'm supposed to be doing, and I attribute it to God. And when I was writing that poem I alluded to earlier, there's a sense that some of the stuff that I'm trying to carry, he's not asking me to. And I don't always realize that. It's not, every day I have to remember that, because it's easy for me to pick up and say okay, go be productive, care for your clients well. Sometimes care for your clients well in a way that they aren't willing or able to care for themselves. And I can't be the one to just carry. I have to know that God actually cares about them more than I do.
Anything sticking out to you right now, Steve?
I don't know that I've got a whole lot to add. I think you guys have really said it really well. I do think that a lot of times I want a formula so bad.
Yes.
I want to have a system, a process, a whatever. And especially with what both of you guys, where you're at with just serving people, is you want to be available. You want to have the eyes of Jesus to see, the need that he wants to wants you to speak to, but also boundaries, so that you're not just like taken advantage of, or, and I think that there have been moments this summer when I've felt overtaxed with the, just being there, for the people that we serve. And, God has shown up and given me the energy, the words, whatever, for that moment. But that's like, there's no formula for that, except for just like, I don't know, kind of like trying to lean into the Holy Spirit. So anyway, I'm not good at it, but I have experienced it a couple of times. And, so I don't know if that answers the question, but yeah.
So I would love us, as we're wrapping up right now, our friends are watching and listening, and there's someone listening right now, I'm sure, who's like, I am in that season right now. And we obviously are sitting here not with like, and here's the buttoned up thing, and here's the pill you take to fix it. But
It'd be a great pill.
If we had this person here, what might you say to them as far as like a path forward or one step to take to if they're feeling acutely burnout right now? Matt, we'll start with you.
So I guess from my own experience and just going from work responsibility, coming home and being a parent of, young kids, it often is, wake up, go to work, or actually help the kids get ready for school or whatever, then go to work, do my job, come home, help with dinner, help with cleanup, get the kids to bed. And then like at the hour between 9:30 and 10:30 if we're lucky, that is the time that I have time for myself, which is also time to connect with you. And oftentimes just the shift of like, I know there's a bunch of stuff to do. I know there's so many dirty dishes in the kitchen. I know there's something that needs my attention, but just reorganizing and saying, I'm going to take 10 minutes to sit and to actually prioritize myself above this other task thing has been really helpful. And I would just encourage people to take a look. Where are you actually prioritizing yourself rather than relegating your own care for like the last thing of the day?
I've seen you do that. Like you have in the last even few years, you've added things to the calendar like that actually give you life. And I'll notice you don't automatically do the dishes, which is a huge gift that you do that. But I'm like, at first I'm like, there's dirty dishes and Matt is sitting down. And then I'm like, no, look at him. He's sitting down. Steve, our friend is watching, listening. They're acutely feeling burnout. Anything that you would say to them?
I think that I would say attend to your health, whatever category of health the Lord is pointing out, whether it's spiritual or emotional or physical, sooner rather than later. Don't like back burner that. Don't wait until you're at a stage of life that you feel like will be more conducive for that. And if you're my age, like, don't think, oh, it's too late. Like it's never too late. I just do think that the sooner you begin to strengthen those muscles and care in whatever way you need for yourself, the better. So
beautiful, Steve. I want to link to 2 articles. One is the Forbes article with the burnout test, if you want to know how burned out you are. And then the other one is a Psychology Today article by Kyle Brown. These both were published this year, so it's not like from ancient Egypt.
It's not from Hippocrates.
What did I say earlier?
I don't know.
Hippocrates.
I would love Hippocrates.
Hippocrates.
He's friends with Socrates, isn't he?
Probably.
Yeah.
Kyle Brown said in Psych Today, willpower alone is unsustainable. Burnout happens when enthusiasm is replaced by force. So I never want to go back to that dark, deep burnout place again. By the grace of God, I'm not there right now, but I'm hyper aware that when I feel dragged, especially into these challenging spaces that I exist, it's so easy for me to just fizzle. So I cannot get my joy from applause, and I cannot get my identity and grief from thumbs down from people. I have to continually keep going back to God and say, God, what do you have for me today? I want enthusiasm to come from your calling on my life. I want it to be, even if people applaud or they boo, I want it to be, what do you say, Lord? So that's what I would say is are you operating out of force or enthusiasm that comes from the Lord being your master, as it says in Colossians, that it's the Lord Christ you are serving. So I find encouragement from him. And so do whatever it takes, like Steve was saying, to work on these spaces and what Matt was saying of intimacy with God. That's what I'm doing right now so that I can have more sweetness from my boss, who is the Lord Christ, who loves us and is for us. All right, that's where we're going to wrap it. We're super thankful you guys were here for this burnout conversation. We're so glad to be back with you after the summer, whether it was restful or not. Again, I'm going to link to those articles that I mentioned. We're also going to talk about the link to the Hole in My Heart podcast Facebook page where we post the old question of the week. And we do have a question of the week for you next time. I've been listening to the Relevant podcast, which is just basically Christian pop culture and some good interviews in there because it makes me laugh. But they keep doing this one has to go game. So they tell you like 4 things and they're like, you have to pick one thing that has to go. So this is a fall themed of one has to go. You have to pick one that has to be like, I don't want that. Jumping in a pile of freshly raked leaves, apple picking on a crisp fall day, cozy fall sweaters, or your favorite warm drink. One has to go. Which one is going to go? Guys, I want to know your answer next time.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. If you guys like the podcast, if you wouldn't mind taking the time to rate and review it, that helps others to find it and to find healing from things like burnout by the grace of God. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you to the Zach of all trades and to Bethany Sanderson. She is helping us to edit these videos. She's been my friend forever. Love her dearly. And thank you for joining us. And for all of us here at the Hole in My Heart podcast, we will see you next time.